back. Hello everyone. Welcome to the channel and to another video about my LS swapped Colorado. For anyone not familiar with the videos I put out already, I've gone basically start to finish through what it takes to put a Gen 4 LS into a 2011 Chevy Colorado 5-speed using the existing 5-speed transmission. I wanted to put out this video for a few different reasons. One is because a few people have asked, but also because I think it's important. I wanted this series to be kind of a how-to on start to finish on how to do this type of swap using the combination of parts that I bought. I noticed there wasn't a ton of great information. There was a lot of videos, but not a lot of great detail. So this is meant to continue on that theme and really give some detail into what it cost to get this swap done. Obviously, what you guys see in front of you here is a pretty big spreadsheet. Looks like something an accountant would put together. I did this for a few reasons. One, because I wanted to make sure that I was keeping track of what I was spending, but two, so that I could try to, again, post a video like this and help everyone out with the costs associated with doing something like I did. So starting on the left side of the spreadsheet here, this was kind of my initial budget. So I'd sold a few cars last year and knew I wanted to take on a project. I kind of allocated some money to this, and I thought it'd be nice to try and keep to an actual budget. I also kind of find it more fun because it sort of forces you to I don't want to say cut corners, but be a little bit more creative, right? Instead of just going out and buying parts left and right. So what I tried to do is keep the budget to $10,000. I put together this sort of rough budget and kind of tried to make this make my project fit this budget as best I could. So $3,000 for the truck. I figured $2,000 for the engine, and then essentially the rest of the parts. I figured $5,300 is the number that I'm seeing. So roughly $5,000 on parts. And then I figured I'd get a little bit of money back from selling the motor off. Now, how did I actually come in? Didn't quite hit the budget. Let me walk through this and explain exactly where I came in and kind of what the current cost looks like and where I think it'll end up. So I did get the Colorado for $3,000. You'll see that number again down here. The actual engine and the engine itself with accessories and whatnot from a junkyard was $1,570. That was with shipping and everything else, so that was all in. So that actually came in a little bit under what I had estimated for my engine budget. Now everywhere else is sort of where all the costs came in, which is kind of how it works, right? Like the big stuff, it's semi-easy to control the cost there because you're buying one thing, but once you start buying all these little bits and pieces, it can get out of hand. The current harness and the ECU, this ended up being a bit more expensive than I initially thought. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't think I would actually need a new ECU, but I did. So the harness and the ECU together was $1,450. All the Fabbot stuff, so this is the adapter kit, the clutch, the new slave, all the kind of the accessories to go with that stuff. I think that included the flywheel as well. So basically everything that I got from Fabbot, that came out to $1,135. You see here. Radiator, self-explanatory. Everything that's colored, basically that it associates with the breakdown you see on the right side. So my basically cooling system, I guess I should have called it. All this stuff here, that came out to a little over $200. Gaskets, random parts, a lot of these from Rock Auto, which is this list here. A little bit of a pro tip too, when you order from Rock Auto, you can actually get a list like this directly from email and copy and paste it into Excel, which is what I did. So that's why this is so nice and pretty and detailed. It's basically directly from our Rock Auto email. So that was $487. That was the bulk of the stuff that you saw in my initial first few videos to kind of refresh the motor, plus some various other things that I needed. Mass airflow sensor, what else? Yeah, generally mostly stuff for the motor. Headers and spark plug wires, I don't know why I grouped those together, but $165. Motor mounts from Current, $186. The intake, this was from eBay, $70. power steering pump. I needed a new one of these because I mentioned this in the first video, but when you buy a motor from a van like an Express or a Savannah, it comes with a power steering pump that uses a remote reservoir. I needed one with the reservoir attached to the pump itself. So had to buy a new one off eBay, 65 bucks. I think it came off an Escalade. Small parts and fittings is what I called this one. This is basically the yellow list here. Won't go through these line by line. Some of the bigger items here, a lot of the exhaust parts, those came out to roughly 300 bucks. A random line here, probably could have included that somewhere else. So that's basically a lot of the swap parts. Suspension and wheels, we have the Beltec suspension here, the wheels and tires, and then the wheel and tire mounting. So if anyone's curious about just the wheel and tire setup, how much that cost, that was $1,225. So if you want a similar set of wheels, that's probably what you're looking at. I didn't buy the best of tires, so figure middle of the line tires at that $400 price. Cosmetics, the fender flares, this number is pretty good. The paint and supplies, that number is a little bit probably a guesstimate. So I figured total was about $250 for the fender flares to get those painted and on the truck. And just a note, like for the fender flares, I had to buy some tools. I ended up buying 2 different paint guns, and for this project in general, I actually had to buy an engine lift, an engine stand. I didn't include any of the tools or anything like that. It's stuff I didn't have, but it's stuff I'll use again, right? So it is stuff that I bought specifically for this project, but I'm not including it in the price. This is strictly stuff that is sort of being bolted onto the car is what I'm including in this price. Miscellaneous, I needed new lug nuts, gauges. I actually added 3 gauges, which I'll cover probably in a video coming up, but I wanted to make sure I was keeping tabs on engine temperatures, etc. So included those in here. So in total, this list that you see in front of you is basically $8,000, $8,080. That was for the engine and everything else I needed to swap it, plus my suspension, plus all the cosmetic stuff, etc. So basically everything outside of the truck itself came out to $8,080. The truck, again, $3,000. That was for a running and driving truck. So that brings me to a total of $11,080. So that is the truck as it sits right now, current state, running, driving, still needing a few things. You can clearly see I did not hit my budget, so I was about $1,000 over my budget. I do have a couple tricks up my sleeve to get some of that money back, but overall, to get a truck to this current state, you're looking at about $11,000. Now, I'm not done. Essentially, there are a few things to do, so I wanted to make sure I was transparent about that, right? This $11,080 is not including a few things, so I'm going to take the truck to an exhaust shop and have the exhaust fully welded out, and I have to get kind of a turn down out to the back, etc. I figured that was going to be about $200, so that will be added onto the price as well. And then a dyno session with some tuning. I'm hoping I don't need too much time on the actual dyno because the truck does have a baseline tune. It seems to run pretty good, so I basically just need someone to just sort of tweak it, make sure that things are safe, and then do a few runs on the dyno, and I should be good there. So I'm figuring $300. It could be, I specifically looked at the website of a place in Nashville that does tuning and pulled numbers using that. Could end up being a bit more than this, but for now, between the two of these, call it $500 between getting the exhaust done and getting the truck dyno. So that brings me to about $11,500 total once the truck is completely done. Now, one more caveat that I will add here on the price is that I still have things from the truck that I can sell, which then goes back into sort of back into the bank, right? So that actually brings my total build number down since I'm bringing money in. A little bit of a trick to try and get back on budget. Already sold the motor for $300. Scrapped a bunch of random things that came off the truck. Big $12. And then the rest of this stuff I still need to go sell. I think I posted the harness, the ECU, some of the miscellaneous parts a few times. Didn't have much luck. The cats I have sitting around, I just need to go take those somewhere and recycle those. I should get more than $50 for those. So all in, I think I estimated about $600, a little over $600 that I'd get back from the motor, etc. I already have half of that because I sold the motor. So if you take this total number when the truck is said and done, this 11,580, subtract the 600 and some change of parts sell-off, that gives me a total number of $10,948. So basically right at $11,000. So hopefully that helps everyone out that's looking to do this type of thing. If you're looking to do what I did, buy a running and driving truck, do a Gen 4 swap, use the existing transmission, use current and Fabbot parts, you're looking at probably somewhere around 11,000 bucks. You may be more creative in certain areas. You may know how to weld, so you may not have to pay for that. You may know how to tune, so you may not have to pay for that, etc., etc. But I think this is probably a pretty good number for anyone who's looking to do this, doesn't have a truck, and is looking to completely do it from scratch. Again, probably around 11,000 bucks. Now, all that being said, that's actually a good amount of money, and I'm sure some people are going to be like, "You spent 11,000 bucks on this thing." Yeah, I mean, it's not great. I would have preferred to spend much less, but I did a few things that others may not, right? So I could have bought a shell or bought a non-running truck and saved a whole bunch of money there. I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could probably find a Colorado that doesn't run for $1,000. I chose to buy one running and driving for a few reasons, but one of them is just because I wanted a truck that I knew had a good trans and a truck that I knew everything worked fine, and also I wanted to do some work with it. So I actually bought it, used it for a few months, and then parked it and pulled the motor out. So that is one area that you guys could definitely save some money if you're doing it yourself. The engine, you may have a donor engine. You may be able to find an engine cheaper than 1,500 bucks. I was kind of rushed finding the motor at the time, so I probably didn't buy the cheapest one, but I also definitely didn't buy the most expensive. So you may be able to save some money on the motor. And then really the other big bucket of expense here is all the swap parts, right? So the wiring, the ECU, the transmission adapter, clutch, etc. Some of that stuff, depending on how you do your swap, you may not have to spend the money. Like if you do your own wiring, for example, then that whole 1,450 may end up being a couple $100. So there is 100% a way to save a bunch of money on this swap, but you kind of get what you pay for. I wanted a truck that kind of was turnkey, runs and drives like factory, something I didn't really have to worry about, which is why my cost came out to that, call it 11,000 bucks. So again, hopefully this helps everyone out. I probably rambled a little bit in there, but wanted to make sure I got this video out. I think it's important to include so everyone kind of understands what I spent and what you might be getting into if you pursue this type of thing yourself. So this was kind of a short one. I do have some other videos in progress. Still have a bunch of stuff. Well, I shouldn't say a bunch of stuff, but I still have things that need to be done to the truck, and definitely want to make sure I continue to showcase the truck now that it runs and drives. So I'll be putting a few more videos out in the next few months, showing kind of the progress that I make, and also doing a dyno video. And for anyone that's watched my Audi video, I do have a couple more coming out soon too, showing some more parts that I'm putting on that. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.